that you were saying about learning. I was reading an article that an article that I had to write a little bit about in one of my dissertation chapters. And this was written by Vanessa Siddle Walker, who does really interesting research. So she's in education, but a lot of her research is actually recovering like lost histories of Black educators. And one of the articles that she wrote, I think it was in like 1991 or something like that, she was talking about writing classes and like literacy for Black students. And she was saying that one of the reasons that that Black students struggle in these writing and literacy courses is because there are competing definitions of what it means to learn and what it means to teach effectively. So the instructors have their own definitions, right? They have what she calls a process-based approach to writing and literacy. So it's sort of like asking the student what, like what they think and what their process is. And it's like very question-based, but her research shows that at least in the classrooms that she was, doing the research in, many Black students don't consider that to be effective teaching. They are looking for educators who are firm but encouraging, who make learning fun, but sort of like lay out what the expectations are and hold students to high standards. And they want instructors who actually can demonstrate that they know the material and have things to communicate to the students, but aren't, like ignoring what students have to bring to the classroom. And her argument in this article is that a lot of the educators totally miss these definitions of what good teaching and learning is to the students that these students bring with them to the classroom. So there's like this disconnect where teachers are trying to teach what they've been taught is good pedagogy, but they have no idea that the students themselves have their own definitions, and they're looking for forms of teaching that aren't replicated or shown in the classroom itself. But of course, like no one ever stops to ask the students what they think good teaching is. So this cycle just kind of like repeats, and it continues to marginalize Black students and disenfranchise them in classrooms, and it privileges what are like, fairly privileged forms of teaching and learning that don't necessarily reflect what students of color are looking for in their educations and what they know that they need in order to thrive in educational settings.
I've been really grappling with what you are presenting here for some time now. Specifically, like, how do I dive deep into traditional texts of computer science when that hasn't really been modeled for me at all in my life, right? So then what ends up happening is I think I'm speaking on behalf of a large, fraction of first-gen students is we'll just go online, right? Because, naturally our brain is quite smart in a sense that it doesn't want to expend any more energy than it has to. So if I particularly don't have the habits of, digging deep into quote unquote rigorous technical literature, I'm probably going to go online and find tutorials, find whatever I can find to put out the immediate fire in my life, which is lectures and assignments and exams, right? But then I'm kind of working in this like piecemeal way where it really is just kind of a band-aid solution to the ultimate learning objectives that the teachers think that they are achieving when we pass. But in reality, I think a good percentage of teachers also realize that we are not achieving those objectives that they have set for us. In fact, in many, 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 even K through 12 podcasts that I listened to over the past year, they say like a lot of teachers are actually quote unquote going easier on the students. Like they'll curve in a way that allows for more students to pass compared to the rigor that they experience when they're going through their education. So that immediately is not only telling me like I guess empathy is being applied, but not applied in the right way, right? Like we're just trying to move us along, which is important for sure, like to graduate. But as far as how much are we getting out of that experience, it's exactly what you're presenting here. Um, of what does that process look like? What can that process be? Like, what are the real dividends from that process if done right? And that's why such a central theme of the learning code is amplifying students and educators alike, and not only their work but like their narrative of what in the world is the purpose of education, or what in the world is learning, right? What has learning been for you?